Buenas noches. Good evening, my dear fans. Welcome to my new video in my big project of analysis of all Chopin's music for piano. Today we are in Spain. Spanish music, Bolero. Spanish music written by Polish composer whose father was French and who spent almost all his life in Paris. Well, half of his life in Paris and half of his life in Poland. Why he writes Spanish piece? This is a question that I think everybody is asking, and we don't have the answer. But the fact is that in year 1833, when Chopin was 23 years old, this piece was born. Chopin decided to write Bolero. He had never been in Spain before. He didn't know Spain at all. But yet he composed a Spanish piece. Why? As I said, we don't know. But of course, as you know me already, if you know my other videos, I investigated a lot. I was thinking about it a lot, asking questions, thinking, trying to get into Chopin's mind, being empathic and knowing his biography deeply, his letters, his life, and all his music. I have some conclusions, which I'm going to share with you tonight. First of all, let's read a little from the Polish Institute, Chopin's Institute. We have quite a long text about Bolero, but I don't want to read all, but just a few words. It is for fleet-fingered pianists, said James Huneker. James Huneker is a musicologist, one of the musicologists. And fleet-fingered means fast-fingered. Is it really for fast-fingered pianists? Well, of course, like almost every Chopin's music, except maybe nocturnes. But especially, I think, the introduction, which I didn't play because I just played for you a little bit of the main theme. But soon we will sink into the whole piece. Then you will see that this is actually a virtuoso piece. But this virtuosity here is not empty. I mean, this is not a piece written to be difficult. Absolutely not. Chopin definitely didn't want that. Of course, it should have, I mean, it was to be effective, but not difficult. It should not sound difficult. But, okay. At the time Chopin wrote the Bolero, writes Professor Mieczysław Tomaszewski, he had not yet been to Spain. I told you this already. He would not visit that country until 4 years later, when he saw only Barcelona and Mallorca. He could only have been familiar with Spanish music from the opera house, where it had become fashionable, like everything exotic. And here he comes to the very interesting topic. Although we do not know what inspired Chopin and acquainted him with Spanish music, the Spanish, or at least southern character of this work has been noted and appreciated, but not by everybody. Only Robert Schumann's opinion was very enthusiastic. Robert Schumann wrote, "This is a delicate composition, full of love, a picture full of southern ardor and modesty, devotion and coyness." Beautiful words. But unfortunately, we also read a lot of critics, and we read very negative words, especially by Friedrich Niecks, who did not accept that the piece sounds Spanish and has Spanish character. And he proposed the new title of this piece, Bolero a la Polonaise. He thought that this is a Polonaise dance. And tonight I'm going to destroy this idea, this thesis. Destroy it completely. I don't agree with it with all my heart, and I want to show you why. Hessig also rejected not just the Bolero Spanishness, but also its terpsichorean poetry. Yes, my dear friends, the Ferdinand Hessig, who I quote quite a lot and who I respect, wrote that this piece has no poetry inside. It gets me angry. But some of the musicologists were defending the piece and its Spanish character, and here I am to do the same. So let's start from answering the question why Chopin wrote this piece and what could have been his inspiration. I'm almost sure that this piece was certainly Chopin's inspiration. That's enough. Bolero, written by Giacomo Rossini. Written a few years before Chopin wrote his Bolero. Coincidence? No, absolutely not. Chopin loved Rossini's music. He adored his operas and everything he wrote. And of course, Chopin was attending every single concert. He loved music. He loved live music. He was listening and going to every concert. So he heard this piece and he heard it certainly a few times. Of course, we don't have the proof in letters or anything, but come on. I mean, it's as obvious as the fact that the sun is shining during the day and at night it's not. Now, let's analyze first a little bit the rhythm to see why some people think that the Bolero of Chopin sounds like a Polonaise. Let's focus on the rhythm of this Bolero by Rossini. Is it a Polonaise? Let's listen to left hand. Yam ta ta tam pam pam pam. Of course it is. This is exactly the same rhythm that we have in the Polonaise. Right? We have yam ta ta tam pam pam pam. And I'm Polish, so I know what I'm doing. This is a Polonaise rhythm, but, and here is the most important thing. This is written like the Polonaise rhythm, but everything depends on the performer, how the pianist will perform this rhythm. In Polonaise, the way we dance the Polonaise, we have to make one longer. So we play yam ta ta tam pam pam pam. We play yam pam 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 pam. 1, 2, 3. In Bolero, on the contrary, this is a completely different dance. And of course, maybe the rhythm is the same, but the way how we play the rhythm is not the same. And now here comes my theory about all these musicologists who thought that this is a Polish Bolero? Well, probably they listened to wrong recordings while they were making their analysis. It is, I think, not so difficult to listen to wrong recording, because when we play Chopin, of course we think about Chopin. Oh, he wrote many polonaises, and every polonaise, so the rhythm of polonaise comes into our blood. And especially when you are Polish, there is a danger that every time when you see this rhythm, you immediately want to play it like a polonaise, or when you play a lot of Chopin's music. But this is wrong, and we have to fight against that, because this is a Spanish piece, and Chopin, from the very beginning to the very end, is writing a Spanish piece. Come on, Chopin was not an idiot, sorry to say. He was not. He was a very intelligent musician. He knew what he is writing. He knew that the rhythm will be compared to Polonaise. But he also knew that other composers wrote boleros just like that. And he was aware of that. So that's why I'm the last one to criticize this bolero by saying that it's Polish. Everything depends on the performer. But I hope now you can see that the bolero rhythm is tam ta ta tam pam pam pam. But we have to have a Spanish spirit inside us when we play this piece. Okay, now the last thing before we start the deep analysis. Because we didn't answer the question, why Chopin decided to write bolero. And now I tell you my personal opinion. When I analyze and look at the pieces that Chopin composed and published around bolero, what I find? Bolero is opus 19. Opus 18 is Grand Waltz Brillant. This is the first waltz that Chopin published. And if you know my video about this waltz, I'm very happy that you are here still with me. If you don't know, I strongly recommend you to watch it, because it's the first waltz of Chopin. So I also explain why Chopin started to compose waltzes. And this is exactly the same period. Opus 17, we have 4 mazurkas and other dances. So they are dances together. Okay, so mazurkas, waltz and bolero. Opus 16, there is a rondo. The rondo in E flat. I didn't talk about it yet. It's still to come in a few months. But this is a very salon music, very virtuoso, happy music created for the salons, right? For Paris aristocracy. What we have after the bolero? Well, after the bolero, opus 20, we have Concerto Number 1. This is a completely different piece, but it was composed before, and Chopin published it later, but it was composed definitely a few years before. Opus 21, there is Concerto Number 2, also composed long time, already still in Poland, long time before, but published in Paris. And opus 22, very important, Andante Spianato and Grand Polonaise Brillant. Again, a dance, again a different dance, and in the Rococo style, Brillant. I also talked about it. I strongly recommend you to watch my video about this piece as well. We have mazurkas, we have a waltz, we have polonaise, and we have a bolero. So, I think it's easy. I mean, Chopin, first of all, let's imagine Chopin in Paris. He was struggling. I don't know if you know deeply his biography, but when he came to Paris, he had difficulties. He had no money. His father had to borrow him money. I mean, gave him money. He gave him money, but they didn't have so much money, and Chopin had really a problem because he was not known there, and so of course he was thinking about it, what to do, how to earn money, what to compose, and how to get into the aristocracy, into the salons, into houses of high-class people, because there he could find students, money, and fame. That was very smart of him, and it was very smart of him to compose such music. He was very intelligent. He knew what they like. So he wrote nocturnes, he wrote mazurkas because he was Polish, but he wrote especially these pieces like waltz or bolero. These are not pieces written from Chopin's soul because he felt like this. No. I wouldn't say it was written for money, but maybe yes. But it was definitely written to get famous, to sell it, to publish it, and to being invited to dinners, and to private concerts. That was his way of surviving and getting famous. Very smart way. And why bolero? Because at that time, Spain and Spanish culture, especially music, was very fashionable in Paris and was considered exotic. And Chopin knew it, right? Rossini also knew it. That's why we have his beautiful bolero that I played for you a little bit at the beginning. Okay, so now let's start the analysis. And the bolero starts with the introduction. And this introduction has 3 parts. So it's quite a long introduction, not a short one. And the very last thing before I start to play finally, I can't help thinking that this piece is not for dancing like Tarantella that we had yesterday. I mean the analysis. Tarantella is created like a piece for dancing, but I think this is more like an image of somebody who is dancing, and I can't help thinking of maybe that we listeners are in the audience in the theater where a dancer, a woman, a Spanish beautiful girl is dancing a bolero for us. And I think it's only one woman, one dancer. We don't really have a duet in this piece. So that's why this is my now very subjective image of this piece. But I definitely think that we have to use a lot of imagination in this piece to make it interesting, to make it beautiful. And then when we do, it's really a fantastic music. Okay, everything starts from 3 like gongs, like, in the theater, when we sit and wait for the concert, usually there is one sound, after a few minutes there are 2 sounds, and after the last, just before the show is going to start, we have 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. And here it's exactly like that, isn't it? So. And then the introduction starts. And here we have fast finger work. To play it again, but before I play it again, I want to ask you a question. What was that? Was the piano? Of course it was a piano, but maybe Chopin had something else in his mind. Of course, before this video, before analysis, before learning the piece, I made my research and I listened to a few boleros. I watched how people are dancing. I have to do it. And definitely I heard an instrument, a Spanish instrument, that is always used in bolero dancing. This instrument is called castanets. You know what is this? Castanets? It's like a percussion instrument that creates this a very specific sound. I'm sure you know. What is this in this introduction, fast introduction, if not castanets? Definitely this is the way how you can imitate castanets in piano. So that's exactly what Chopin is doing. Is it not Spanish? Of course it's Spanish. It can't be more Spanish than that. Listen again, because I have to play it a little better. Especially here. And then here, suddenly, one note. And the dancer appears from the backstage. She comes to us, looking beautiful, with a beautiful dress, ready to dance. But before she starts to dance, she introduced herself with very seductive behavior. Just listen how Spanish it is. It's a very southern music. The scale is not Polish, definitely. It's not North European. This is a scale that Chopin thought it's Spanish, or he heard in some other Spanish music. When we close our eyes, I think we can imagine ourselves in Spain. But what is so special about this introduction, as I said, is very seductive. And you know, when we have these two notes, this very often here, you know what I see in my imagination when I play or hear these notes? I see this beautiful dancer playing with the audience and with this gesture of, come on, please come here, come to me, something like that, you know? And it appears many times because, of course, this is a show. So she's moving around, she's looking at the audience and getting the contact with everybody. Exactly, that's what I see. Of course, it might not be true, but let's have some fun today, because this is a fun piece. Listen again, this very seductive, very, I would say sensual Spanish music written by a Polish composer. Again. Even more beautiful. She looks at us with her beautiful eyes. I love this music. second part of the introduction. Now comes the third part of the introduction. Again will be fast and virtuoso, like the beginning. Getting more and more, I mean faster and faster and faster, then suddenly cut, and then the dance starts. So just listen to this. Faster, 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 faster. And the dance. Okay, and here comes the dance. And now let's stop a little. And I will play for you this like a polonaise now. So when we hear this left, let's listen to the left hand. This is a polonaise rhythm. Of course it is. But only when I play it in a polonaise style. So like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Well, sorry, but we cannot play it like this. Here we are in Spain. It's a Spanish music, so we have to play exactly different. The accents are on different parts of the bar, but when I play it together, it sounds just funny. I play for you the Bolero now in a polonaise style. Now this is a polonaise, but it doesn't sound like a polonaise because of the right hand. So this is the Bolero, Spanish music, absolutely. The first melody that we hear is very simple, and it's constructed in a very strange way, because Chopin is repeating one note 9 times. Can you believe? 9 times, just listen. This will be the note. This note is, the name of the note is note E. Listen how many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know any other piece by Chopin. Maybe, well, in Polonaise Fantasy, but it was not 9. This moment when he... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 5 times. Here we have 9. Obsession. Well, he did it on purpose, of course. He wants, but definitely, from what I feel, is that he just wants to, he wanted to create a melody that is very easy to catch, that is very easy to remember and sing, so that when you, after one time, only one time of listening this piece, we can, the melody comes into our head. That's what his goal was, and I think he succeeded. So let's listen to this beautiful first melody. One more thing, excuse me, tempo. Because tempo here is written by Chopin. Chopin writes exactly the metronome marking, and I just want to show you what metronome marking is this. 1 second. Metronome, yes, here I have 88. This is the metronome marking. And my friends, it's not a fast tempo. But it's a very dancing tempo. And I think I love this tempo. I don't really like performers that are faster, and there are quite many of them, because we have here allegro vivace, which means rather fast and live. But I think the image of a dancer is the most important, and our imagination. She starts to dance. Okay, so this first melody is very easy to catch, as I said, and very simple. number 2, a little bit more smooth. And from these two notes starts melody number 3, and it's very important. Here Chopin writes dolce, means sweet, and these two notes are symbol of a bow, you know. So the dancer now is bowing for us, and she will do it 2 times. And this is the third, very sensual and very seductive again, beautiful moment. Listen to the melody number 3. And now she is going to reach the first climax. Castanets. And melody number 1 again. Is the end, like a epilogue, the end of part A. Part A that consists on 3 melodies, right? The epilogue is this ending is again castanets. Just listen to this, the image, the sound of percussion, Spanish instruments. It's for me it's really obvious. This is the end, and now we have a kind of fanfares, like a you know, I don't know, some trumpet or something. Anyway, very big and proud. This fanfare is the transition, a bridge between part A and part B. And then now part B will start. And first I play for you part B, and let's count melodies again, just like we did in part A. Melody number 1. Number 2. And melody number 3. Transition. And what? Melody number 1 again. Okay, this is enough for now. So we had 3 melodies and then coming back to the first one, just like we had in part A. So it's very carefully built and written in a very similar way. Let's talk a little bit about this part B. The whole part B, so after this fanfares, starts from the bass and goes up. It's, you know, like the flower, some beautiful flower opens. Just listen. Right? Like this kind of gesture. And now here we will hear three sentences, short phrases. The same, 3 times the same, but every time higher. And you know, again, this is full of emotions for me, and for me, my imagination tells me that this is like this dancer is playing with us, trying to seduce us and trying to tell us, please come to me. And then again, please come to me. And then the third time, please come to me. 3 times this is like inviting for dance. First time. Second time. And third time. And here again, a very beautiful second melody, when we will hear also Castanets again. Here. 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 And now melody number 3. And melody number 3 is, you know, when I was playing this piece and learning it, and I didn't know it so well. When I arrived to this melody, I wrote myself here Chopin, and I draw a heart, because this is really, if we still don't believe that this Chopin is the composer, here Chopin shows us the soul and heart that we know very well from other pieces. It's a very sincere, very beautiful, full of love melody, and typical Chopin melody, because we have the melody first, very simple, and then repeated with beautiful Chopinian variations. Listen. And the variation. Transition. And part A again. I mean, the first melody. From here, Chopin wants to come back to part A, so to dance again, not to the introduction, but to dance. How is he going to do it? He's going to, well, to marry 2 motifs. The motif from part B and the main motif from part A. The main motif from part A will reappear, but very far away, and our subconscious will think, oh, we've heard it before, something we know. This is the first melody of the Bolero. Just listen to this beautiful transition. And the left hand is like you know, drums. Listen. we have the motif of part B. And motif from part A, but changing the key, and again. And now here, a question. What is this? Tak-takam, 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 and very high. Castanets, of course, right? I mean, I'm just so enthusiastic because I love this. You know, I didn't read that anywhere, you know. I hope you understand my enthusiasm. I'm happy like a child because I discovered it myself. I feel like a composer, you know, and oh wow, he is writing. Well, because first when I listened to some other boleros, I listened to this Castanets and I liked it very much. And then when I play this, wow, this must be that. It cannot be something else. And here, if there is a man in this story, he appears only here, just before the reincarnation of part A. Okay, and now part A appears again. And without any changes, I mean there are very little variations, but for the ear of not musician, or even for a musician who listen to it for the first time, it's not significant changes. So we have the whole part A, and then what is the end? Is there any coda? Well, yes and no, because we will hear again the fanfares. These fanfares, you know. And after the fanfares, what did we have before? Part B. This part B. And here Chopin is playing with us. He's cheating on us because he starts it like a part B. But then instead of continuing, he's ending it in a, I don't know, 10 seconds maybe, by a very virtuoso kind of coda. Again, Castanets. That's the end. The end is a very typical Polonaise-like end, and maybe that's why some theorists thought that it's more Polonaise than a bolero. The piece is, I think, fascinating, very unusual for Chopin, that's for sure, but it's worth to be played. It's a pity that we don't hear it so often in concerts, and we don't have so many recordings of it. So, because I love it, well, I don't know it as that well yet, but I'm going to record it because I'm going to record all Chopin's music next year, hopefully. But now I think I will try to play it for you in its entirety, just for that we can a little fun, Spanish fun at the end of this video. Okay. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. And see you again in my next video. And now we will change the character and mood, because the next video will be about Fantasy in F minor, Opus 49. Thanks and goodbye.